What if the fastest way to grow is to admit you were wrong? Not quietly, not internally, but out loud, to everyone. Because over the past decade, some of the biggest restaurant brands in the world all faced the same uncomfortable reality. Customers didn't like their core product anymore. So the real question is, when your main product stops working, do you hide it, tweak it, or completely rebuild it in public? Let's start with Domino's. In the late 2000s, Domino's had a reputation problem. Not subtle, not debatable. People openly said the pizza tasted like cardboard. And instead of dodging that, they leaned into it. They ran ads literally showing customers trashing their pizza. They read the comments, on camera. Then they said, "Yeah, we agree." And then they did something even riskier. They changed everything. The crust, the sauce, the cheese. This wasn't a rebrand. It was a confession, followed by a rebuild. And it worked. Not because the pizza changed, but because the story changed. Now, you might think that only works if the product was really bad. But then you look at McDonald's. This wasn't a brand people hated. It was a brand people had drifted away from. Menus were bloated. Food felt overcomplicated. The experience felt outdated. So McDonald's didn't apologize like Domino's. They simplified. They cut menu items, focused on fewer things. Then they brought back something oddly simple: breakfast. All day. No dramatic confession. No big emotional pivot. Just a quiet shift back to what people actually wanted. And suddenly, the brand felt familiar again. But while McDonald's was simplifying, Burger King was doing something very different. They didn't just fix the product. They fixed the details. The Whopper didn't change at its core. Same beef, same idea. But the bun? Better. The toppings? More consistent. Even the packaging, redesigned so it wouldn't fall apart. And their marketing? Self-aware, almost self-roasting. They acknowledged the weird, outdated image, then replaced it with something sharper. This wasn't a reinvention. It was a refinement. Which brings us to Subway. For years, Subway barely changed. Same menu, same ordering style, same everything. Until suddenly, they changed everything at once. New bread, new ingredients, new system, even the way you ordered. Instead of building slowly, they hit reset, and they made sure everyone knew it. This wasn't just improvement. It was a signal. This is not the old Subway anymore. Now here's where it gets more interesting. Because not every turnaround starts with bad food. Take Chipotle. Their problem wasn't taste, it was trust. After a series of food safety issues, people stopped going. Not because they didn't like the food, but because they weren't sure it was safe. So Chipotle didn't start with flavor. They started with process. New safety systems, new prep methods, new internal controls. But they didn't stop there. They layered in new menu items, promotions, digital upgrades. So while they were rebuilding trust, they were also rebuilding excitement. And then there's Papa John's, a brand that didn't collapse overnight. It just slowly fell behind. While competitors innovated, Papa John's stayed still, until eventually, good enough wasn't enough anymore. So their comeback focused on one thing: make the pizza better. More cheese, better crust, new recipes, new formats, no gimmicks, just a clear message. The product matters again. So step back for a second. Different brands, different problems, and completely different approaches. Domino's went public with failure. McDonald's simplified. Burger King refined. Subway reset. Chipotle rebuilt trust. Papa John's doubled down on quality. 6 different strategies. But underneath all of them, there's a pattern. They all stopped treating the product as finished. They treated it as fixable. And more importantly, they made the fix part of the story. Because the real shift isn't just improving what you sell, it's changing how people think about what you sell. Domino's didn't just make better pizza, they made people root for their comeback. McDonald's didn't just simplify the menu, they made the brand feel easier again. Chipotle didn't just improve safety, they made trust visible. And that's the hidden logic here. Turnarounds don't work when they're invisible. They work when customers can see the change, feel it, talk about it. Because in the end, you're not just fixing a product, you're rewriting the narrative around it. And the brands that win aren't the ones that never fail. They're the ones that know exactly how to come back from it.